So just a brief recapping of Elon and his Tesla ask in the past week. One, let's start with the fact that he brags that he's working for the US government 7 days a week. He sleeps, he works, he sleeps, he works, and he makes a spork pyramid occasionally. Which really was like, Daddy, look what I made, Daddy. Trump, Daddy. Trump stands up in front of his employees and says, don't sell your stock. Pretty much the only people he can bully into not selling his stock are his employees. He can't convince any of the rest of us not to drop our stock. The only people he has sway over is his employees. So, that wasn't, subtle. That was your boss is telling you, don't do it. Probably an HR violation, but his company's now in Texas, so, probably perfectly legal. Then he promises Tesla owners a few magical things. One, with one software update, we will be able to turn your existing Tesla into an autonomous Tesla. Have you seen the self-driving cars in California? They've got 8 cameras and a whole thing. You're telling me my existing car could easily just drive itself anywhere, any day, all the time with one software update. This whole time we were just waiting on 3 lines of code. I call bullshit. But the bonus sell is let your Tesla work for you while you're at work. A drive back to the office. But the idea being, when your Tesla isn't being used by you, you can turn it into essentially an Uber, but Tesla will have their own version of Uber. So your car drives you to work, and while you're at work, it drives around the city driving other people around. It makes money for you while you're working. Except for the fact that it does have to sit on the charger for quite a while. So at what point does this car charge? Because most people charge it through the night so they can drive it again in the morning. But okay, apparently the battery problem just gets solved with the new software update too. Okay, overlooking that. Have you seen the videos on social media about the kind of people who get into Ubers? You think they're going to treat your high-end Tesla with respect? Let me paint a mental picture for you. You get up, you get into your garage, you go to get into your car, and you are hit by the wall of smell that is rejected alcohol from a girl's night out. You're going to A, sit in your automated car and let it drive you to work, or B, be late to work because you now get to scrape upchuck out of your back seat because your car was working while you were sleeping. Have you not seen the horror stories of Uber drivers and the disrespect and the spilled Slurpees and whatever else? Your luxury vehicle should be made into an Uber so it can get used and abused in order for Elon to be able to convince you to not turn it into the dealership in the next year. Which, in fairness, even if you tried to turn it into the dealership, most dealerships don't want to take Teslas anymore because they've just got this massive inventory of them and nobody wants to buy them. But also know that they are going to ramp up the automated cars, the new ones, in 2026. So your automated car can be used as an Uber for a year before they launch just the Tesla taxi cabs, making you redundant, but overlook that I haven't said that as part of my here's my master plan speech. Might I remind you, we're in the middle of a Cybertruck recall because there are multiple videos where people were pulling apart Teslas with 2 to 3 fingers. That's how easy it is to pull pieces off of a car. You're telling me you guys rolled out Cybertrucks at $100,000 with essentially Elmer's glue on the bumper. And now, while your CEO and founder, inventor, is busy spending 7 days a week sleeping in some corridor in the White House, devoting all his time to the US government, somehow you're going to release a new car, a software update, and a brand new and appropriate industrial adhesive bumper on Cybertrucks, and this is all going to work out. Remind me where we are with that super highway under Las Vegas and everything else Elon has ever promised. Odds that his cars will roll out in 2026 and be anything that I would rather let Pete Hegseth, after finding out his Signal group chat has been exposed, I would rather let Pete in that state drive me across town than one of Elon's cars. His sales pitch literally was keep your car, turn it into an Uber, let it get completely effed up, but this way there are less used Teslas on dealers' lots. We are one software update away from giving you everything you've ever wanted, but I didn't but trust me, that'll be good. But also, in a year, I will start putting out basically Tesla taxis, so screw you. Overlook everything that's currently wrong with all my cars, and definitely don't dump your stock. People are like, yeah, well, that's really sound investment advice because, we're looking at our stock to be worth at least $2,600 a share in 2026. What? If you're still here and you have followed this, it can only possibly be because you're on ketamine or you fell asleep halfway through, but people are buying this. And now is when I admit I'm your Lord and Savior and you need to Venmo me your life savings. So, if we're just throwing shit out there.